Right, I'm just about to develop some black and white films, and I thought I'd show you what I do. It's my way, might not be the right way, but it's my way. On the right we've got some wetting agent, which is used right at the end of the process after the developed film has been washed. We just add some of that to the water. It helps with the drying and hopefully keep the negs reasonably clear. In the middle there we've got the rapid fixer. Now that's a concentrate that needs to be diluted before it can be used. I think it's one part fixer to 4 parts water. Can't remember offhand, it might be 1 and 7, but it says so inside. I'll show you that in a second. On the left there we've got some stock bath. In the red and white box there we've got some Ilford ID11, which is the developer I'm going to be using. It's a powder developer, so it needs to be mixed up with water to make a stock solution. Also I'll show you that as well in a minute. And then on the left of that we've got a Paterson developing tank. That one takes 3 reels of 35mm. You can just about see there's a thermometer in front of them, and then I've got me can opener, or part can opener, which is broken, which I'll be using to get the film out of the cassette, scissors, and there's a film there. It's a colour film, but I'm just going to use that one to show you how I take the film out and do it in the dark. What I'll be doing in the dark I'll show you out here in the light, so I'll ruin that one. So as for the fixer and the stock bath, I've already got them mixed up, pre-mixed from previous attempts. They're sitting in some water in the sink, just bringing them up to sort of room temperature, that's all. Right, there's the ID11, opening her up. When you open it up, you've got 2 sachets in there, part A, part B. And basically what we're going to be doing is, according to the instructions, mix up. There we go. You rip the box to pieces. Get the dog to do it normally, but right. If you can see that in there, quite simple really. Put in 750 millilitres of hot water. Put in part A, and then add in part B. Give it another stir, and then put it into me jug that I'll be using to store it in, and then I'll be topping it up with the remaining water, the remaining cold water, to make 1 litre. That will give us the stock solution. Stock solution can be used as a stock solution, or it can be diluted to 1 and 1, 1 and 2, or 1 and 3 parts water. That will extend the developing time and give slightly different results. Right, now what I've done there, back in a sec, hold on. Right, what I've done there, I've put in 3/4 of a litre of very hot water out the tap. Now it's supposed to be 40 degrees, but I've never tested it before, so I'm going to test it today just to be inaccurate or inaccurate. Let's have a look at what we got. That's gone up. That's saying 42 degrees actually. And this is just hot water out of the tap, but it's very hot. It's burning my fingers. I was pulling it out of the tap. So we go. It's gone up to 52 degrees in fact, so it's over the top. Right, so 52 degrees I've got there. What I'm going to do, just wet there, then don't have to do this, I'm just faffing. Right, I've got part A there, as you can see, part A. Just make sure the powder all gets, because there's not an awful lot of powder in there, but make sure it all goes to the bottom. And I'm going to actually empty the powder out onto here, because it is quite awkward getting the powder out into the top of a milk jug or whatever. If you can see that. Make sure all of it comes out, that's the thing. Right, that's pretty much all out. Now then, that's got to go in there without messing it up. use all of the powder, apart from a few granules. That's it. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm just gently going to turn that a few times. What you don't want is anything undiluted in the bottom, any crystals or anything in the bottom. It's looking pretty good actually. That's part A. Now we've got part B to put in, so just like to put it to the bottom, cut the top off. And this is the other method of getting it out, he says. I think he knows what he's talking about. This is hot water over 40 degrees, 3/4 of a litre. Part A has gone in and been mixed. That's part B going in and will be turned a few times. And then when I've done that, I'll top it up to 1 litre with cold water. And that will give me the stock solution. Stock solution of ID11 can be used quite a few times, up to I think it's about 10 times. You see quite a bit of sludge at the bottom. Let's get that mixed in. I've obviously cleaned this plastic milk container out very thoroughly before I'm using it. The problem is when you've made it up with this sort of temperature, even with the cold water in it, it's still going to be rather warm, too warm to use, so it'll have to be cooling down anyway. Right, what I've got there then, that's been mixed up very well. There's a measuring jug which I may have omitted to mention I have earlier. 250 millilitres, just to knock it up to 1 litre. I've already pre-marked where the litre should come up to as well. I don't know if you can see that on there, but lying there. Right. That gives us the 1 litre stock solution of Ilford ID11, which is pretty much identical to the D76 developer. That is it. Right, when I'm actually in the dark room, so I'll just push the ball upstairs. When I'm in the dark room, this is what I'll do. I'll have the films laid out. That's my can opener, or that is actually part of a broken can opener, but it does the job. Scissors. Pot with centre column in the middle. None of that. I'll have everything laid out in front of me like this. And then what I will actually do in total darkness, I'll take film and one of the reels. I'll take the top off the cassette. Now, as you can see there, that's leader out. A lot of people actually just pull it straight out onto, but I can't be asked to do that, so I'll just get my leader in so it's not showing, so I'm not going to be using that. I'll take the top off, cut the end, and then I'll start reeling it onto a reel like that. In total darkness this will be, so I'll do it on my lap. This is the way I do it on my lap. Cut the end of it off, throw the canister away on the floor, and then that'll get put in there like that. Then I'll do it to the next one, 2 films, and so forth. When I've got all 3 films done like that, lid goes on, make make sure it clicks shut. That is now light tight. Now I'll just put the agitator in, put the plastic lid on, and then bring it back into the kitchen. But what I'll do, I'll just show you how to put the film on the reel. Right, now I'm in my dark room, turn all the lights off, totally dark, so I can't see anything. I'll have things to hand so that I can obviously reach them and know where they are in the dark. But this is basically what I'll do in the dark. Using the can opener, I'll break off the top of the 35mm canister, like that. Just pop the film out like this. That'll be thrown on the floor. Total darkness. I'll then snip across the film. Now sometimes you'll actually feel, if you go through the sprocket holes, I tend to just bring it back a bit further, because the old sprocket holes can be a bit of a problem. They can snag up sometimes. Now then, the way it goes into here, there is a specific way. You can see a certain way it's got to go. It's not that way. It's obvious it's not going to go there. It's got to go in that way, like that. So in the darkness, this is what I'll be doing. I'll start to drag that first part through till it goes under the ball bearings that are there. Then I'll drag it a little bit further. Make sure the film's lined up, not twisted underneath. And then this is how you get it on. Twist it. Now, sometimes it snags up. And unfortunately, this is just one of those things that you're going to have to put up with until you've done a few. And you'll feel the film coming through your fingers, and I don't think you can see that, but I tend to use my two fingers there just to keep it in line. So I'll bring it in, and it'll get to the edge of the end of the spool. When it gets close, I can feel it tightening up, so I'm at the end. In the darkness still, I'll just snip it, and snip it as close to the end spool as you can, because the last film, or the last frame, sorry, will be very close to the end. You might, if you're not careful, you'll end up cutting off part of the last frame. As you can see, that's popped out of the runner. I'm just going to pop that back with my thumbnail. Click. Gone back in. Just wind it on. You'll feel it go slack, and what I tend to do is give it a little tap, and then in the darkness, drop it down into your pot. Push it down with the lid, lock, and then that is now light tight. Just put the agitator in so you don't lose it basically, and stick the lid on, just like that for now, because it's got to come off when I get inside. So that's how you put it onto the reel. Now then, we've been outside and I've got me 3 films on the spools, or the reels inside, all ready to go. Obviously what you've got the leader, which has been cut off. Now then, I haven't used this fix for a while. It's been sitting in the sink there, so it's just sort of brought it up to room temperature really. Now, just gently mixed it, inverted it, so the solution's sort of even in there. I've just poured some into the cap. Now, taking a bit of leader, it's got wet on it. Take a bit of leader, as you can see there. Right, I'm just going to dunk a piece of leader in there. Right, and I'm now timing it on my watch. Right, that's 45. So, just dropping it in there, just gentle bit of agitation. I'm going to give it up to 30 seconds. Now I can see it's changing now anyway. Right, that's 15 seconds. I'll give it 30 seconds. Normally we want it clear by 30 seconds max. Any shorter than that's a bonus. But as long as it clears within 30 seconds, I think that is okay to use. That's pretty much 30 seconds there. Now just tip it. Now looking at that there, I'm just going to actually hold it up to the light. I mean, that is completely clear. That is cleared completely in 30 seconds. So I'm going to use that fixer. That'll be fine. Right, I've just dunked my thermometer in there, and that is 22 degrees, which is fine. By the time that's gone into the pot, that's going to knock it back down to 20 anyway. Stock solution with HP5, which is what's in there. Ilford HP5 is 7.5 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to chuck this in straight in. Now I'm not going to measure how much wants to go in now. It's 10 ounces, 290 millilitres per film. There's 3 in there, so just under 900 millilitres, which is going to take most of this. I'm just going to pour it all in basically. Once it's in, I'm going to start my timer. I'm going to chuck it all in because I want to make sure it completely covers the film anyway. So that's just starting to show its head. That's perfect, right. I have now started my timer. Stick the top on and I will invert it. Now I'm actually squeezing that together quite hard because these do tend to leak. And that's why I've chucked the rubber gloves on. So I'm just going to invert it for about a few times for 30 seconds. That's pretty much 30 seconds, just give one more. Right, that's 30 seconds. Just give it a few seconds to settle and then just try and knock any bubbles off that have stuck to the film. Obviously if there's a bubble, the developer won't hit the film and it'll not develop there. You'll get little round marks on there. Right, now what I tend to do, that's 55 seconds past the minute. Even at the start, at the first minute, I will invert it 3 times. So every 50 seconds past the minute, I will invert 3 times. I've got me stop there ready, and my fixer is the next one in line, and they're around about the same sort of temperature. It's not quite so critical, bearing in mind that we're going to use that ID11 again, so it's going to go back into the milk pot. And that's it now for the next 5.5 minutes. Basically, at the end of every minute, 49, 150, I'll invert it 3 times. And the dog will whinge because she can't get out the gate. That's it. And that's it now. Right, it's just coming up to 7 minutes. That's 6:45, 6:47, 6:48. So I'll still give it the 3 inversions, even though we're only going another 30 seconds. Right, there's my 3 inversions. So I'm going to whip the top off ready. Now I tend to perhaps over develop a little bit, maybe. Gives a little bit better contrast. So I will actually start pouring that out on 7.5. I won't be too fussed about it, time wise. That's 7:20. So I do like to give it its good whack, like. Right, 7:28. Right, pour this back into the pot. Over the sink, as I miss. That's it. Chuck my stop in pretty quick. Now stop does tend to arrest it pretty quickly, I think. Right, just quickly check the time. Right, I'll give it about a minute in the stop. That's what they call an indicator stop bath. It looks like wee, yellow in colour. when it's completely exhausted it'll go purple. It's about 45 seconds or close to. Right, that'll get poured back in as well. That's just coming up to a minute, that's plenty. That'll stop it. Right, reset my watch, in with the fix. Right, let's start my watch. It's definitely looking a bit old, that fix, because you can see the silver content in the top. So I'm just giving it a little swirl around with the agitator, which I should do every now and again, give it a bit of a blast. I'll give it about close to 5 minutes, I reckon, in this. I know you can knock it back to about 3, but I think you will have to go over fix it, I think. Just give it a little swirl now and again. Yeah, I reckon there must be about 5 ounces of silver sitting in there. Christ, that would make a killing it, he says. Hopefully if Ash has found a way of retrieving all this silver, he'll let us know and I'll be a rich person here. Notice I didn't say man. That's a minute. I'll come back when we've nearly done 5. Right, that's 5 minutes up. So I'll just pull the fix back into the pot. Now I'm sure I read somewhere that you're not supposed to mix the fix that you use for the paper and the film. I can't remember what the explanation was, but it looked good. So I tend to keep the same fixer for film and then the same one for paper and don't mix the two. Right, that's that. Now what I've got in the sink is water that's around about 20-22 degrees. So what I'm going to do to wash it is fill it up and invert it a few times. The first couple of washes out, when you tip it out, you can actually see there's a bit of, probably won't see it on that, but there's actually a bit of a purple colour into it. Eventually that will disappear. Do this as much as you like, really. I normally do this a few times, half a dozen I suppose, and then I've got a little pipe that I'll use in the bathroom that just turn it on, leave it, what they call a false washer. You can see there's a hole in the top there, obviously, where it goes in and out. That's where your little pipe for your false washer goes in. But I'll carry on here for now, giving it a few. And when my arms are dropping off, I'll think that's about right. And then I shall put some wetting agent in. Right, I've done quite a few fresh changes of water, loads of inversions each fresh change. If you go on the website for Ilford, they'll tell you how many inversions and how many changes of clean water you need to wash it properly. I tend to go a bit over the top washing, because obviously the legs are the most important thing. Once you've got them, you want them to stay in as good as condition as they can do over the years. Anyway, there's plenty of washing. Right, just take the top off. What I'm going to do, make sure it's covering the pots. I've got some wetting agent. Just give it a little, that's plenty. What I tend to do it like that. Get me agitator, and then I'll give it a good old, I'll spill it all over the floor. I'll just give it an agitation, a few spins and that. And that basically is it. How to waste 2 hours of your life and ruin 3 decent 35mm films, I suppose. Right, just tip that out. Right, drop my pot like that. And see if we've got anything on the films. Give them a shake off, just if we can see that. As you can see, there is, it's that way, there is something on them. So what I shall do now is, I'll go and hang them upstairs. They actually looked a little bit, no, they're okay, they're okay. I shall go and hang them up upstairs and we'll see what we get later.